I've not used this before, so I'm just trying it out.
We're here to do it. Finally, the X-Men. Now, there has been many reasons why we haven't been able to do this show. We were trying to do it mid-season, and then we were trying to do it before the last episode, and now we're doing it after the last episode, mostly because people got sick. They couldn't make it. Now I'm sick, but I'll be hot damned if I'm not going to do another Shoot the Shit with my buddy Gazz today. Right now, we're doing it. Gazz, we're bringing along some buddies today. And as you can hear, my voice is raspy. So, who have we got with us today, Gazz?
We got our buddy Adam. We got our buddy Hans. And we got our other buddy, Steven.
Hey, Steven.
So many buddies.
We got buddies everywhere.
And we've got GeForce Racing 20 in the chat. We have Dale. And we have Steven. How are you, fellas? We finally got there.
Quick
yes,
question.
You in the back.
Yeah. So in the thumbnail, I am blue and hanging off the roof.
True. That's not a question.
Does that mean I'm Beast or Nightcrawler?
You're Beast Crawler.
Beast Crawler.
So we're talking about X-Men today. We're going to touch on the cartoon, the original one, and X-Men 97. We might even touch base on some of the comic book storylines and some of the action figures. Speaking of action figures, Steve was telling me that he prefers his Magnetos with sparkle powers instead of magnetism.
Get out of town. Removable helmet, sir.
Yeah. Take
when
the helmet
head
off.
sculpt is that bad, do you really want to take it off?
Oh, that head sculpt's great.
I prefer the proportions on Magneto 2. He's far more imposing. So I don't think you can really argue with that. And I don't mind a plastic cape. I think the fabric one was left a little bit to be desired.
When someone starts a different opinion than you by saying, you can't possibly argue this.
Proportion. Okay.
I will say.
I'm saying imposing. I mean, who would
I
say that?
because I love. It's all good. You can like that Magneto. That's okay.
I actually do like that Magneto.
Yeah.
I do like the sculpt of that Magneto. I do think that it looks more menacing, that Magneto. However, I think that the first version of Magneto, not only does it the magnetism, which is his power set, but he fits in so perfectly well with the other Marvel figures that had come out up until that point.
Yep.
So he fits in there in that wheelhouse. And then after that, yes, that Magneto definitely fits in more with the figures that came after that. But up until that point,
if somebody wanted to find out like all the lines of Toy Biz figures, where could they do that? Where could they find that kind of stuff out?
Well, that's none of your Toy Biz. So, all right. So Gazz and I do a show called Shoot the Shit, and we do this with very little prep. Right? We do not do slides. We do not do research. and if we have to, we do it the Gazz way, which is we pick up our phone and we'll have a squiz. Now, having said that, you're not going to believe this, boys. I have one picture I want to show you.
Yes.
I've put up one picture. Here it is. See, that's how we do it. That's the Gazz way. I got one picture. There was a moment in this whole. Now, I watched this cartoon from when it first dropped, first day, and every day, first day, because I didn't want to get any spoilers. But more than that, I was just so pumped to watch it. And I would watch it all the way through, thoroughly enjoy it. But there was one episode where I had to stop it, like pause. And it's like, take it back. Take it back a bit. I'm going to take a photo. So here's the photo that I literally took off my phone that I've, for some reason, not going to show it on my phone the Gazz way. I'm going to show it right now. This one thing made me stop, rewind. That sounds like the intro. And it was this.
Look at that! Look at that!
Rodimus Minor before he became a sports car.
Yeah, look at that gloriousness.
Though they did not follow through all the way. I mean, they could have gone full crazy and done the Wolverine face.
Well, it flips around, right? You can have the
that
face
would have been that would have just been delicious.
Right when the scene cuts, it would have been good if you just saw it slightly move, like it was.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Joe Fan 84 is here. Oh, hang on. Sorry, Steve. I'll move you up to the top and move myself to the bottom.
No. It's your show, baby.
Oh, who have I put at the bottom? Gaz, I did not mean to do that, mate.
It's okay.
No!
We're the hosts. We can be out of sight.
I will say,
they come to see these guys.
You're out of sight.
In my Toy Biz collection, I never wanted to have this motorcycle as part of it because I was like, it's just so stupid. But now in the show, I'm like, maybe I should get the motorcycle. Like, maybe that's what I should do.
I kind of now want it. Joe Fan 84, how are you, buddy? Woodman is here. Evening, everyone. And Pericles, Dragon Ball Z, the guy that knows everything is this guy. He is an encyclopedia of worthy knowledge, and we appreciate them when they jump in.
I can safely say that, no, I still don't want it.
You don't want it still? I kind of do. Now, I hated this toy. Okay, that's a strong word. That's a strong word. I never owned it, so therefore I can't hate it. But I was never, and I'm a big Wolverine fan, was then, am now. I liked Wolverine before it was cool. What am I talking about? It was always cool. But I never wanted the motorcycle, mostly because the face flipped out. I was like, nah. But after seeing it on here, I'm like, damn. It kind of does look.
It's like Wolverine became that, what was it, teen car?
Turbo.
Oh, yeah.
Turbo Teen. Splashed some water on him and he turned into a bike.
Do you reckon this is what happens when Wolverine gets the Matrix of Leadership?
Yeah. So there's a question for you. Would you prefer to have the Wolverine claw motorcycle or the Wolverine Jeep that had like the wood chipper in the front where it like chewed up figures?
Or the Wolverine that transformed into, I think that was also a Jeep. I guess wood chipper Wolverine seems more his style, but now kind of want Turbo Teen Wolverine. Wolverine.
Not to get too much about the figures, but I think that the X-Men, aside from the Jet, which came out and was a little bit small and whatnot, it wasn't really a vehicle line. Like none of the X-Men needed vehicles. You didn't need them. It was just about the figures for me.
Yeah, we did have the Blackbird though. We haven't even spoken about the Blackbird in Blackboyd. The Blackboyd. We haven't spoken about the Blackbird yet. It
doesn't come out till Wave 5, baby.
Yeah, but we'll get there. So is everyone all caught up on the show?
What show?
Hans Chow. Yes, I'll put Hans Chow up in the top, and we'll hang out here at the bottom.
We'll ridicule him. So what? Disney Plus doesn't show in your neck of the woods, hey Hansi?
No.
Oh dear.
Hans is like, what's Disney?
Got to do it on the down low.
I didn't even know I didn't know the show was a thing until about. I think these guys were actually talking about it, and I was like, "Oh, what show? The '90s ones?" Like, oh, they're redoing it, and I was like, "All right." And then I went online, I typed in X-Men '97 intro, and I was like, "It's like someone just HD remastered the front." And then I realized it's a different show, and it's like, oh. Then I got really excited, and then the rest is kind of history.
I like how Hans' emotion range is that of a 1930s actor, where he's either very quiet and doesn't care, or he's like yelling, "It's great!" Like,
Hans Charles, the most polite person that will ever kick your door in. Right. So I think it's the first time we've ever seen, because we've seen sitcoms come and go, they've been cancelled, they've been brought back due to popularity. This is probably the first time they've ever gone, all right, we're going to not only bring this back, but we're going to continue the story. This isn't like a reboot. It's a continuation of what came before.
Maybe Family Guy, because it did 2 seasons and was canceled because it was so offensive. But
right.
Then the DVDs were like the best-selling DVDs of all time. And then Fox was, "We need more Family Guy." So they brought that, but I don't know how much continuity is in that show. It's pretty nonsense. But I think that's maybe the only other example of it.
But I think a wide enough gulf like this demands some attention. I mean, what was it, 30 years?
30 years.
Right.
30
Yes.
years. Amazing.
And they've picked up where they left off in a fashion. Some of the style is a bit different, but we anticipated that anyway. Whether it's an improvement, it's definitely an improvement on the last season of the X-Men. But if you want your mutants extra stylized, you've got it here. And I don't think that necessarily takes away from the continuation of the story. Like, it doesn't pull me out of it. But do we think that the characters are still represented in a way that fits the characters as they were originally put to us?
I think so. I mean, I don't. I mean, to me, listen. From when I started to watch the show to now, this is not meant for the newer kind of fans. Certainly they could leap onto it and that would be cool, but this is not meant for young audiences. Something resonated with me that you said, but you said it for comedic effect. You have to stop and look at the Wolverine motorcycle. I had to stop and turn it off because I was going to cry. It was just, I needed to sit down and digest the thing. This is skillful writing. This is actually respectful for not only what came before, but also to the fans that are watching now, as well as those who could potentially get into it. This is kind of on the level where it's fighting with shows like Invincible and The Boys, which I like. This is where animation should be. It shouldn't be this exclusive child realm. It should be something else. And I like this. This is a nice bridge for me.
Right. It's no longer a Saturday morning cartoon. It's more of a Saturday evening bit of entertainment. You know, if you look at Morph and how they handled Morph's death in the Night of the Sentinels, right? They cut before the deed, so to speak, right? And then you see the aftermath of it. You don't really see the effect as it happened. You see the aftermath of it. But then when we're jumping ahead, but when we get to Gambit, they hold on it and they show the sacrifice that came from it and the emotions built on that, which you would not get from the original X-Men series.
Right. Now, historically, except for like maybe the odd time, I get really irritated because I find a lot of times in comic books, writers will kill a character to get cheap sympathy. Like, oh, now he's dead. Like, even if you look like Superman v Batman, like they killed Superman and he's been on Earth doing Superman stuff for like a year and a half, right? So he's not so super. He's just going to average man. You got in the second big battle, and that's what killed him off. But I just think it's something that writers can do. Where like, oh, we'll do this, and this will show some real weight. Where it's just write smarter. Whereas I feel like the Gambit death was written so well that when they killed my favorite X-Men, I wasn't upset about it. I was just like, that was the way to go. Like that. If we never see him again, I'm like, that's the way to go.
Right. I think.
There's one main caveat I have with comics in general. I mean, you don't really get it with GI Joe, except with one character. But you never, in storytelling, at least to me, you never trivialize death. Death has a finality to it, and it's defining to most characters because of the trauma that's involved in it. And I find that when it is involved and when it happens, it should not be taken lightly, because it's the way it is in real life. You know, it's a traumatic event, and the build up to this particular incident was, as I said, I had to turn it off, take a seat, think about life.
Well, there is that big difference, though, of we know the character. He's not written in. What's that, Hans?
I said, and console my wife, because that's her favorite X-Men.
Oh, ouch. I think Gambit was a lot of people's favorites, which may have been part of the writing process. Like, okay, Gambit's a popular guy. If we were gonna, off one of them,
there he is.
why Gambit? Remember him. But he, I think what I liked was that they built up the romance with Rogue in a different way. It wasn't just for the sake of it. There was like some relationship pulling and pushing with Magneto, which I thought was a little bit out of left field, but not completely inaccurate to the comics. But in the end, that was the catalyst of making. There it is. You got props. I love it.
Oh, baby.
Rogue's transition to almost villain. And we know her days came from her starting off as a villain, but her transitioning into pretty much a villain by the end of it felt earned, right? She'd lost so much. She'd gone through so much. And she made some small choices that ultimately became big choices before she decided she was going to side with Magneto. It wasn't just like Sunspot had one bad day. And all it takes, I guess, is one bad day. But yeah, it's one bad day. It's like, I'm with Magneto now. It's like, well, that's a bit off, but okay.
But he's an impulsive teenager.
Right. Yeah. I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it with Sunspot, but Rogue, I felt it. Right, giving Charles Xavier that the folded up coat, Gambit's coat, that hit hard. Yeah. And it's like, how do you argue that? And then saying all of that stuff, like pointing out that Morph had already gone, Jean had already gone to the other side before. How many more have to go?
And also like the roller coaster of that day for Rogue, where she's fighting with her desire versus like her reality. Like Magneto is someone I can touch. Magneto, like it's almost like a duty when she kind of like dumps Gambit, and then like half an hour later she's like, I've made a huge mistake, and then she makes I think this big realization of like, yeah, Gambit is where my heart is, and then the next thing they do is they're in the battle and Gambit becomes the martyr, right? Like it's that roller coaster of finally realizing after all the years of, and in the old series, it seemed like Gambit was just kind of like the irritating guy in high school at some points and times, where she's like, no means no, and he doesn't want to take it for an answer. But they explore that in the season where it's like it really was like a back and forth kind of, we'll do what we can, and to have her go through that relationship in that time, it really must have played with her.
Yeah, and this is a good point too from Pericles.
That comment right there, Lord in heaven.
I liked that Gambit didn't.
Try again, yes.
Gambit didn't turn against Rogue after being rejected, right? And that's what true love is. It's like, well, you didn't choose me, but I have love for you, and I just want you to be happy. Yes, but still, I think that's a comment. They can bring him back, but he is dead.
He is.
Without a doubt.
Everybody watched the sting at the end of the episode.
I was always looking just in case there was one. I was glad there was on this one.
Yeah. Apocalypse.
You always, if it's Marvel, you always look.
Well, it's also a funny. My son Gambit's his favorite, absolutely. Like, and so I watched this with my kids, and they absolutely loved it. And so when Gambit died, my son was like very upset, like a Hans level upset. But he got more upset at the next episode when they removed him from the intro, and that was like, oh, I guess he really is dead. Like that was like they took him out of the intro. It was like a confirmation as opposed to like, well, maybe he'll come back. It finalize that for him. So I think changing the intro each episode slightly was like maybe like the MVP of the show.
Yeah, because I mean, what crazy person skips the X-Men intro?
Wes.
Gaz, you're a big Cable fan. Me too. We have props. Someone had a prop. Where is it? Adam, you had him. You had him in hand. There he is. And Gaz, you got your prop. I got my Cable as well. So how did you feel Cable was represented in this show?
Oh, well, like when he first showed up on in Mutant Land, I was like, oh, this is not enough. I need more. Like
Right.
2 seconds, he's gone. And towards the end, I'm like, yeah, all right, yeah. I didn't like that he was being controlled. Didn't like that at all. But it is what it is.
That's why he's sinister.
I know.
Oh,
What a piece
how
of
are you,
crap
Geek
that is.
Strong? Coming at you, Geek Week.
But I felt like that. Like, I mean, I like Bishop as well, but I think like comic version of Cable and Bishop, right? In the cartoon, I think Bishop is playing the role of Cable, and Cable's like that rogue mutant that keeps trying to do the same thing over and over again to stop him, which is what Cable does. But it's Cable that shows up and be like, "Yo, Forge, we got to go do this or this." It's not Bishop, right?
Right.
Bishop felt
always
like the
felt
one
man out of time,
yeah.
and Cable felt like the man going through time.
Yeah, exactly. The Cable's the guy who's going to show up because in this, I feel like if they were going to do a spinoff of like X-Force, with what they have, I feel like it's going to be Bishop that runs X-Force as opposed to Cable, right?
Yeah.
That would suck. That
Yeah,
would suck.
exactly. But I mean, I do like the role that Bishop plays in it, and Cable obviously just like, oh, who's that? It's the rebel leader. No, it's Cable.
I think also
Yeah.
Cable was the best improvement on a character from the old show. I felt like in the original show, he was very one-dimensional, and he was just kind of a brute. And in this, you really got to feel the emotion behind what was going on with him.
Mama's boy.
Right. To his detriment, he was a mama's boy, and I feel like I think he was
had
way
this
too
massive
hard.
gruff exterior, and at the heart of it all, he's like, I just wanted to save my mother. I kept trying to save my mom, and I couldn't do it. Like it's heartbreaking.
Yes,
that was my
that
moment when I had to
is.
press pause and console my wife,
Which
console
is
myself.
why, though, Steve, that is exactly why I feel disappointed that he didn't, in the end, team up with Jean. Right now, he was way too hard on Jean Grey. But how much better a moment would it have been if he was able to break control of Sinister and team up with his mum not his mum, but Jean. Technically the same thing in my opinion, and say, you know what, you might not be my birth mother, but you are the essence, the spirit, the soul of who is my mum, and I'm going to break this control over Mr. Sinister and me, and turn my power and use it with you instead of against you. And he wasn't able to break that willpower, which I felt would have been a great growth moment for Cable in order to accept what he couldn't do and change, as in the timeline. He couldn't save his mum, but in this moment, he could save the person who was willing to be his mum and accept that. This is now.
He tried 200 times to save.
Right.
His
and
mom.
all I wanted was one time where he tries to save Jean.
At this point, I'm thinking, I'm in Cable's mindset. I'm thinking, I've done this 200 times. I mean, I've already passed that point of no return. I'm just going to keep trying. One of these times, obviously, I'm going to do it.
I thought it would have been neat, and I thought it was going to happen when he was doing the mind control Sinister thing. If because he had the lineage, if he would have got some of the Phoenix power, and that would help him break it in that moment.
I don't think.
Sorry. No, go ahead.
No, you get it.
Jean Grey can't die fast enough or enough, as far as I'm concerned. I cannot tell you how much I don't like that woman.
Everybody loves her though, Hans.
I don't
Is this
care
a bias
about.
that exists from the previous series, though, Hans?
There's a viciousness that comes with her infidelity that I just can't get.
Fair enough.
She's been through a lot, man.
Yeah, so and
No,
that's
here I am making excuses for it.
she's supposed to be a hero and overcome that. And also, she's probably the most irredeemable hero / human / anything. He's doing a Gene. Yeah, no, stop. And every 15 seconds, the headache. Come on. I just
Yeah. At least she didn't scream in this series.
Ugh.
Look, she's insufferable at many points in the original series. I thought they at least made her like competent in combat.
Yeah.
She was less the damsel in distress.
Yeah.
Jean in X-Men 97 is like a force to be reckoned with. Not too much unlike her paramour. Cyclops fans everywhere are rejoicing. A great injustice has been righted because, okay, they never did him dirty too much in X-Men 92, but ever since then, this guy's been absolutely gimped, left, right, and center. Bryan Singer is chiefly responsible, but like in the eyes of the average movie-going superhero movie consuming public, they've thought this guy is an absolute loser, Boy Scout, compared to the cool guy. Well, now he is the cool guy and the Boy Scout and the leader and the guy who stands his ground against Magneto. It's just Cyclops, man. And showing him in combat, using his powers in very creative ways. Who knew he could fall from the sky, from the heavens, and like save himself? I mean fortunately, it was an unpopulated area, but like he's rad.
That first episode where the Blackbird blows up and they're all falling. I'm like, that's a Steve Rogers moment. That's a Captain America moment.
Yes.
He just starts gliding down like he's parachuting and then just uses it to stop himself from falling and then does that hero land and he's like, let's go. I'm like, see, that's
he was a better Captain America than Captain America was in this show.
Yeah.
Well, yes, Captain America's underdeveloped and underserved, but he always was. Like the X-Men were like the glory boat of the 90s comic book world. The Captain America was still stuck in this very dull as dishwater presentation, and they've stayed true to that.
Captain America had to die in the early 2000s before his book actually got any kind of good, and that's when Winter Soldier / Bucky. In the 90s, Captain America was nonsense, but I still loved him and I still followed him because everybody else didn't like him. I always thought there's so much potential there, and his greatness came from the fact that he contrasted that kind of Iron Age hero from the 90s who were all busy putting on pouches and bullets and hating everybody. He still was kind of
stayed true to the old ways.
Yeah,
either way, I was absolutely delighted when Rogue saw fit to pitch his shield into a mountain. Awesome. She went on a tear. Thunderbolt Ross, that's gonna be they really gave her the focus, and she deserves it. She's MVP. Me always.
It's gonna be the offshoot series for Captain America. He's got to go find the shield now.
He's wandering through the
forest. Did have it in the final episode.
True, yeah.
So he must have trudged, hiked up the mountain.
Also didn't do very well with Rogue in the old movies. She was just basically she was like the MacGuffin in the original movies as well. So
you get to see her
anything. I don't know. Upgrade. Power upgrade. I mean, like they could do it now. If they introduced the X-Men now, I'd be only so glad if she zapped Carol Danvers into a coma.
So with her ability, she can absorb other people's powers, right? So she what was it in the late hundreds in the X-Men issues when she absorbed Miss Marvel's abilities, where she gets super strength and stuff like that. But she's done that to other people, from men, but still retains those powers. How's that possible? We wouldn't just negate that power.
Because how long she held on to her. Remember, her mom forced her to hold on to her for longer than she did. Because it put Miss Marvel in a coma and absorbed all her powers.
No, I know that. But once she
right now. Pick the wrong amphetamines.
But once she absorbs, all right, so she grabs Wolverine and takes his ability. Now she can heal, right? She can't pop claws because that
She
I don't think
could. She can
right.
actually.
She can. All right.
She
So
does,
once
yeah.
she does that to Wolverine, right? Now she's lost Miss Marvel's powers and she has Wolverine's powers, right? That's
I
how
don't
it would
think so.
work. That's how it works.
Is it?
She's not like Sylar from Heroes where she steals everybody's powers, right? She doesn't
I'm
just
sure
stand
she
there and be
can.
like, "Oh, let me
I'm sure
go in there."
comics where she's held on to multiple people and held on to.
Well, I mean, like she one at a time, right? She would lose Miss Marvel's powers if she took
But I think
Wolverine's
She
her
powers.
also retains a bit
interaction-
of Miss Marvel's Carol Danvers' personality. I think she left Miss Marvel a husk.
Yeah,
basically.
she did. She did. She
So
basically
she
almost
took
killed her.
memories, powers,
Yeah.
temperament, psyche, all that stuff. It's all in her. It's buried, but that's
she
why
would-
the change is almost permanent.
Yeah, when she was going at Sebastian, that was like I was like, oh, not Sebastian, Bastion. I was like, yeah, see, that's Rogue. That's Rogue right there. She's
That's my
kicking the
guy,
crap out of him. Bastion, yeah, he's cool,
My
right?
guy.
Oh.
He's when it's just like it's an extinction agenda. I can't remember the name of it, but when they introduced Bastion, I was like, yeah, that's a villain right there.
I mean,
Right.
I was like, speaking about villains, I was like ecstatic when I saw Omega Red,
Yeah.
and then they showed him again with like the rest of like the Crimson Dynamo, and I forget who else he was with, right? I think Red Star, and they
Yeah.
were like getting ready to fight those. I'm like, I want to see more of that. That would be cool.
Yeah. We don't know where it's going to go. The cameos, sometimes depending on the episode, got me more pumped than the actual episode did. Love to see the Hulk. Hulk being my favorite character. Love to see him in some form or sense. Spider-Man, obviously a great addition. I thought the end episode where everyone's doing something, right? Daredevil, Cloak and Dagger,
Doctor Strange.
everyone street level is doing something. Doctor Strange actually performing, which is exactly where he would be, right? We don't have power. We cannot operate. He is a doctor that can operate under these conditions, and so he does. Brilliant. Spider-Man walking around with
On a
Mary Jane,
date.
I thought
Yeah,
was
they're
a bit
up to
weird.
date.
They're on a date. That's a bit weird, but also
Romantic.
the Avengers standing around, letting rockets fire towards Magneto's base. And I've said it before. First of all, I want to say thanks to the guys from the Phantom Power podcast that let us on their show about the X-Men previously. But I mentioned there that I thought that the Magneto protocols were weak. It was launch a rocket. That's pretty much just any protocol, I guess. It's not specific.
With all the Avengers that you have at your fingertips, your best option is to launch nuclear missiles at Asteroid M.
And they didn't even say like release the plastic missiles.
Yeah, it's just launch missiles. All right.
Like if Cap and Iron Man had said, right, we're going to form the Avengers, we're going to form up, we're going to head out there, Avengers assemble, and then something stopped them for whatever reason. I was like, okay, you couldn't get out there.
Yeah,
But the
like
fact that they were looking at that happen, they were going to watch a mass extinction event just happen while they stand there. That did not make sense. That was not Avengers, not even 90s Avengers. So if you're going to show them, use them. That would have been how epic would that have final conclusion have been? It could have led up to Avengers versus X-Men. By having them go up there and sort of counter each other. It's like, well, you know, I don't know what you guys are doing up here, but we need to sort of start fixing this.
Yeah, exactly.
Got to save it for season 3, Zazie.
I think they really just made cameos be just that, just a cameo. Like they didn't really let them do anything in the cameos. And I think that's to the detriment. But I think at the heart, this is an X-Men show, not like a Marvel Universe show. So I think they were probably limited about how much cameos could do.
What about the Black Panther though? I thought that in the Avengers cartoon, did he not show up?
Yeah, a lot.
He was in the Fantastic Four cartoon as well.
I might be thinking of the later Avengers cartoon where
Talking about Earth's Mightiest Heroes, because he was in Earth's Mightiest Heroes. He was a member.
But what was
What
the name
was
of the
the-
Avengers show that was all like
No.
they had like tech armor?
Oh, and
United
Hawkeye. The one with
States.
Hawkeye was the leader of the team.
Yeah, and
Right.
Jarvis was a robot.
That show was not.
But
very
in
good.
universe, has Black Panther shown up? Because he's still previous Black Panther is still in.
Well, I mean,
T'Chaka.
it's cool that they did it because you just realize that it's not just the X-Men world. It's the
Right.
Marvel
So-
universe.
The Marvel animated universe from the 90s. It includes X-Men, Spider-Man, Iron Man, the Hulk
I mean,
shows, Silver
those-
Surfer, and Fantastic Four, right? Those are the ones that are in universe.
Ghost Rider.
And Ghost Rider.
The scene where Daredevil was fighting, I feel like they gave him a lot,
They gave him a lot of
time.
screen.
and I'm
But
like, see, that's great, and I like that. And I would want them to do this, like create your little animated universe right here. Give me like
I
little
wanted
shows.
Spider-Man to be right there. I wanted
Yeah.
Spider-Man right there. I'm glad we got to see Mary Jane with Peter Parker. Nice happy ending. But he would have been like, okay, this I wouldn't be walking the streets right now because they've got no power. They've got end of the world. I mean, I guess at the end of the world, if you got maybe you would want to spend it with your loved ones. But I imagine Peter Parker would be the guy that would be street level, thugging it, old school with those other street level heroes. I would have
Come on,
even
man.
liked to see.
Come on,
I would have
he'd be-
loved it. I
He'd
would've
be
loved it.
weaving some giant spider web to try to bounce that asteroid off the planet. Come on.
But if they would have
Yeah, I can see that.
if the cameo would have been Spider-Man and Venom, but they were beating up the thugs from the Maximum Carnage game.
That would have been a great throwback. That would have been great.
So
even-
I got a question for the group. You guys can think on it before you answer it. You're Cyclops and you're picking your team to go up against Magneto, going up to Asteroid M in this show. Okay? Yeah, Zazel knows where I'm going. Adam knows where I'm going. Who are you picking to go with you on that team? Like, are you picking your reliable guys or the guys that are just gonna fight? You know that are gonna fight to the end. Who are you picking to taking up there? Which characters? Which guys?
Almost
And you have
any except for the metal.
all the and you know what? I'll do this. I'll even open it up. You have both gold and blue teams from the Jim Lee era, so you have a lot more mutants to pick from as opposed to the ones that
Alright.
were in this show.
How many mutants do I get to bring? What's my number?
Whatever you want to bring. I'm just telling you right now. I'm not taking two guys. I'm telling you right now. I'm not taking two
I'm
guys.
only bringing two guys.
Although two guys are staying back and they're handling these human sentinels while I'm taking the
Right.
rest of the team up.
No, I'm bringing two guys. I'm bringing Nightcrawler and Professor X. Nightcrawler, take the helmet. Don't fuck around. Just take the helmet.
Hmm.
Don't announce that you're going to go there, first of all. And in this universe, Nightcrawler can teleport you anywhere.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So teleport
So you
them
need
into Asteroid M, grab the helmet, pop it off. Professor X in the mind.
Mind
Done.
bullets.
And because you're psych, you can blast them once in the face.
Yeah, why not? Just for fun.
Just for fun. So I was disappointed we didn't see much Iceman in this or the older series. I think Iceman is like one of my absolute favorite mutants, and his powers are like fairly
Well,
awesome.
he is Omega level, isn't he? In the Marvel
Yeah.
universe?
Yeah, he's brilliant. I think Iceman is needs to be part of this. I bring
On a
him
side
up.
note, Adam, how cool would it have been if at the end it was Spider-Man and his amazing friends on the street?
Firestar and Iceman. Woo!
Yeah.
And that little dog.
Iceman, what are you doing here with the guy the X-Men didn't
Lion,
want?
that's her name, Miss Lion.
Mhm.
Yeah. Sorry, Adam, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, imagine there's like Spider-Man and his amazing friends, and they're like, Iceman, shouldn't you be with the X-Men? He's like, nah, they got it. They're fine. And then it cuts to Wolverine getting all the metal pulled out of him.
I'm just going to chill.
I'm just gonna chill.
So I wouldn't take Colossus or
No.
Wolverine because they're liabilities.
Aaron.
You're going against the Master of Magnetism. I'd be taking Polaris and Havoc
Oh, Havoc's brilliant.
and maybe Strong Guy
Take all of X Factor. Go. There you go.
and one more.
Banshee, take Banshee as well.
Multiple man.
Yeah, Multiple Man. There you go. Get an army.
That's
But
right.
I'm definitely not taking Wolverine or Colossus.
No,
Wolverine got the job done, though.
Colossus is organic metal. Would he be able to? Yeah, of course he would. Anyway,
I honestly thought that they were going to off Magneto at that point. That was
Yeah, I thought it was done.
very well handled.
yeah.
Turning of the knife, turning of the claws. yeah. Wolverine was just the guy they needed because while he is a liability, Gaz, he's the only one who's really prepared to do what's necessary.
True.
I think he's
everyone
eager
else
to
would
do this,
give
right?
Magneto mercy. Wolverine would be like, "Nah, his day ends one way." Pshink.
But that's the thing. That's That's probably one of the very few criticism I have about this show is that I said it last night. Is that Wolverine? I feel is like a cliche version of Wolverine. He's every trope version of that he has was in the show. He's
Was
like
that not true to his appearance in the original animated show? He was always the gruff, tough guy. He was the anti-hero, and they never
Yeah.
humanized him too much. They never made him the sort of the primary character, and everyone else is a secondary character. It wasn't what happened in live action. Like
Yeah.
I feel like that is Wolverine's role, and he's best when he sticks to that role. Gives everyone else a chance to shine.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. He was a little flatter. Though at the same time, I mean, the complexity of the Jean relationship, she wanted him, and he was like, "No, this was a mistake."
Oh yeah, that was a big moment.
Yeah. But
That
I
even
think,
he regrets.
I think they maybe just like overcompensated to not make it a Wolverine show. So I think that's historically
I mean,
happened ever since Superman happened, right?
Since then, you've had what? You've had the movies. You've had a couple of other cartoon versions of the X-Men, and it's all about Wolverine. Wolverine's the main character in all those movies, right?
Right.
In the
main
cartoons,
character
it was
in the
Wolverine
cartoon.
and the X-Men, right? Yeah. So like he becomes that, and again in the comic books, Wolverine is like in everything, right? In everything. So like,
Yeah.
I guess in a way,
team books, X-Force, X-Men, Avengers, like
yeah. So I guess in a way, I'm kind of changing my mind and saying that it's not a critique or a negative aspect. It's actually kind of refreshing to see Wolverine just be that cliche version of Wolverine. What do you guys want to do? Let's kill him.
That brown costume is perfection. I love it.
Oh,
So
there's
good.
nothing better. There's nothing better than that brown suit. Nothing.
So maybe this is just my OCD coming in, but I felt a little ripped off that they all took off their yellow and blue costumes to put on their retro costumes, and then they gave Cable his yellow and blue costume. And I was like, oh, you guys could have all matched, but you didn't.
What about Morph? What was up with that costume? I did not understand that.
That was weird.
Giant shoulder pad, is that a reference to something that I've missed?
Why does he need a costume? You just morph into another costume.
I didn't.
Which is like even in the original cartoon, I was kind of annoyed with Morph because he would just morph into another character, and you'd be like, why couldn't they just put that character in the show, like Archangel or who was it? Sabretooth, Colossus, yeah, all these characters, and it's like why don't you just put them in the show?
Yeah.
So at least they did show Psylocke at the end, though.
Yeah.
As not just a cameo, it's like actually her. So there's a good chance that she could come back.
I wonder if because there's gonna be a season 2. I wonder if they're gonna do because I mean story wise, this is like all over the place. You go from like Extinction Agenda to Inferno Saga to other Executioner Song. You're jumping all over the place in the storyline, right? That things happen before they happen in the comic books and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, for the next season, I know this is thinking ahead, but I'm wondering for the next season if maybe they're going to do their version of like the 70s X-Men where they reform, like you have the old team and you're going to get like this new team, and maybe we'll have like Colossus.
They already blew up the jet, Gaz.
They got another one. It's on your island, right?
They'll get another one.
So flagrantly,
it's a great
of blackbirds that this show took. I mean, they blew up one in the first episode. Me, I'm a vehicle guy. I was so sad every time they just very casually destroyed another jet. I'm like, oh come on.
Oh wait. Okay, here's another thing that obviously doesn't work. So they had a Porsche 911 in the back of the Blackbird that could fit the mountain of a man that was Cable in the back seat.
Yeah.
Clearly, you don't know what you don't know what car, and they didn't have a 4-door sedan version of a Porsche back then. But no, I mean, I'm thinking that would be cool if they did that rebirth X-Men right? In
Yeah,
the show,
I agree.
right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, they did allude to the classic version and the pictures on the wall and stuff. But as for the Blackbird, Steven, this is a great way to bring in the Transformers version of the Blackbird.
Oh,
Because
okay.
while Forge and Beast create this Blackbird that can transform into like a Sentinel type of creature instead of a Transformer.
They gave it a
Well-
name. What was it?
Oh,
X something. Ah.
Do it the Gazz way. He's going to figure it out.
Exatron.
I passed up on buying that. I thought it made for a very, I don't know, unsatisfactory alt mode and robot mode. But I mean, respect to anyone who did pick up the toy. It's a cool crossover branding, but like,
sweet.
There's no. such
I've
thing
always
as a
wanted
full
a
crossover
Blackbird that could accommodate 4-inch style figures and just multiple of them.
Yeah.
The original Toy Biz one, it's too sold out
It's
on
a
the play
three-seater,
feature.
right?
All right, you know what?
Not
I'm gonna
even
say. I'm gonna say even that, but the name kind of stinks. It's called Expanse. Ultimate Expanse. That's not a real cool name. I mean,
Look,
you
my
have-
favorite X-Men Blackbird jet was actually made by Hot Wheels. I've got
Yeah,
a scale,
that's great.
like a metal. It's perfect proportions, feels good, has a little flight stand, and it's.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a regular carded Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to take a Cobra Blackbird and Night Raven,
Raven.
Night Raven, and make it into a Blackbird. Give it a little.
I used to
little
use
up.
mine as the Blackbird when I would play my X-Men games. Yeah.
Well, in the comics, it was just a stand. It looked like a standard SR-71. Just they had put a compartment, and so they could all sit in it, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
Cobra Night Raven also taps into the notes of like the red canopy.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was the
So,
perfect stand-in.
and in GI Joe, what Rise Serpentor Rise, that last episode, it could carry multiple people, so it could be a black.
Yeah.
The
Raven Mothership.
when I was in university, we would play time travel Risk. We'd have 3 Risk games going on. One was the future, one was the present, one was the past. And so every time a country was taken over and occupied in the past, the present would gain troops because it was changing the future. And then when things were occupied in the future, you could send those troops back to the past as well.
That's
It was
cool.
you had this whole thing going on. So I would love it if this in season 2, if the X-Men that are in like ancient Egypt, every time they do something, it like changes the present and the future.
Oh,
So there'd be like a story going on, and then all of a sudden things change because something's happened, and every episode was like, there's just like nothing can happen straight. It'd be great. It'd be great.
they did that in the new season of. They did that in the new season of Doctor Who.
Hmm.
The new Doctor takes his new companion to like millions of years in the past. They walk out of the TARDIS, and she's like, "Oh, is this like I should be careful not step on a butterfly?" He's like, "Yes, don't step on a butterfly." And what she do? She steps on a butterfly. And she turns into this like lizard person, like instantly.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
the
pretty
Time
much.
travel.
the
I
show.
might have crunched the numbers wrong, but I was watching a bit of the old tune last night, and I think we are at the equidistant point between 1997 and Bishop's future of 2055.
Right now.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
We're in the
Ooh.
middle. Damn.
I like that.
And how about that Bishop not knowing who the X-Men are? Wasn't that?
First of all,
That was in the
Wasn't
old.
Gambit- wasn't Gambit in Bishop's future?
I
Well,
believe it was
it
in the
used to
original.
be.
He's the guy that killed the president at the time. Well, Mystique looking like Gambit, so he would have known Gambit at the very least, because the assassination of the president is what triggered the entire apocalypse that happened in Bishop's.
Did you guys?
Right.
Did you guys feel like we were sold a false bill of goods with the inclusion of Bishop? Like when the figures came out and we're like, "Oh, Bishop's going to be in the X-Men show," and then like episode 2, he's like, "Oh, I gotta go," and then he just took off till the end.
I'm bailing, guys. I'll see you later.
He served his purpose. I like that he was part of the team, not just he was an X-Men while he was there. I liked that. I actually do like that it was him that brought him into the future. I like that too. I don't know what happened that messed it up, but I like that they utilized, because if you're going to have 2 future people, put them together.
Yeah.
right? In a not just as a team up, but for a purpose. And this purpose was, okay, I have the ability to go into the future. I'm going to use my trip and send him back with me. So I thought that was a good use of Bishop, but then after that it was a little bit useless otherwise.
I mean, in the comics, it's like after, is it M Day? Scarlet Witch destroys gets rid of all the mutants, right?
Yeah.
A storyline
House of
after. Sorry,
House of M.
House of M. Yeah, it leads to House of M. Like she
All right,
wishes them all to be dead, like gone, like there are no more mutants or whatever. And then there's that one mutant that's born, and Cable has to protect it. And the guy hunting him down is Bishop. Like Bishop is like the villain, and he's got like a right metal arm, like his arm's gone and stuff, and he's like trying to kill the mutant baby.
Extinction Agenda. What's it called again? It's called.
It wasn't. I don't think that was Extinction Agenda. That wasn't like.
I have
It's
the
been
book
like
up.
the early 2000s.
The one where Cable has Hope Summers on his chest.
Oh,
Is it Hope?
Yeah. He goes into the future, and he's with Deadpool because he's the only one who can survive that long, and he keeps like blasting and destroying him. Yeah.
So
Hey, Jed.
I think with Bishop, I think with that character change for him, it's like I think he definitely took it way too far. It didn't feel quite like Bishop. But hey, how are you, Skyfall?
Messiah.
But the good
It's called Messiah Complex.
Messiah Complex. What I liked about the No More Mutants thing was that when people like the Blob were no longer a mutant, what happened to the Blob? If you can find an image of that, Gazz, find an image of what happened to the Blob after No More Mutants, because that guy gets messed up. It's not just they disappear; it's like the mutant powers are gone. And if you're someone like the Blob and you're no longer having that mutant ability to blob around, some people had a bad time.
Gazz,
Give us a look, Gazz.
show us, Gazz.
You guys really want to see this?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, Solo.
Really?
Solo, yeah.
Really want to see this? Here we go.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Need some of that skin reduction surgery.
Yeah. Oh boy.
He was having a bad
He's
day.
he's like, what's his name, man? In Austin Powers.
So, Gazz, if you can keep your phone
Yeah.
and do me a favor,
Sure.
can you look up who played Blob in the X-Men Origins movie?
Oh yeah, X-Men Origins. Hold
Yeah,
on.
who played him in that movie?
I can see him in my mind's eye, but I
Right.
don't know what his name is.
This is gonna go somewhere. You're gonna love it.
Perfect. Are we
Isn't it
calling him?
It's X-Men Origins movie. Are you calling him? You're not calling him, are you?
I'm not calling him, but I probably could. You'll find out in a second why.
I'm gonna say this: X-Men Origins wasn't that great, but Liev Schreiber as Sabretooth.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Oh,
a
yeah.
terrible movie, but the credits was the best X-Men movie.
All right, so it's Kevin Durand.
Yeah, where's that guy? Where was he born? If you could just Wikipedia him, find out where he was born.
Oh boy, here we go. This is leading into
We're going down a rabbit hole here.
Yeah,
Sidebar though,
Yeah.
Adam. You had the Wolverine Jeep, right? Could it accommodate a passenger?
let's find out. I can just grab it right here.
Excellent.
Oh,
Could it
I love
accommodate Madeline Pryor in labor?
I want to go Wikipedia.
Is it Apocalypse that Logan name drops when she goes into labor?
Oh, hey,
Where's he from, Gaz?
he's from Thunder Bay, Ontario.
Thunder Bay, Ontario.
Hey-oh.
Get out.
That's right. You grew up just an hour from me.
Did you know him?
I didn't know him, but we hung out in
You
similar
guys,
circles.
did you guys fight over Motu toys at Zales?
He definitely bought
Zellers?
Zellers. So here's the Wolverine Jeep. It does have a passenger compartment,
Amazing.
and
Hey,
if
that
you
kinda looks like a vamp.
yeah, it looks like a vamp. And if you got in his way, he would just wood chipper you up, Fargo style.
Oh man, they took it too
That does
far.
make more sense for Wolverine, though. Like, he would definitely run that into Sabretooth, no problems.
But you could also put the hood on it and just have it be a regular Jeep with these
Yeah.
Wolverine blade wheels.
They took it. They took it too far.
How does a G.I. Joe look in it? Too big? Too small, rather?
He looks too
Depends
small.
on what era. I think a modern
true.
era, if you can call them that, Sergeant Slaughter would look pretty good in there, Zazie.
Yeah.
Ooh,
He was a big
true.
boy.
Maybe marauder that thing. Just marauderize it to a modern.
Yeah.
Marauder,
Marauderize it.
on there. Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
Or just do it Battleship Grey and put some Triple T stickers on it.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yep.
That could be Mercer's vehicle instead of having a Triple T tank. You can be driving that thing.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I can see Mercer in that. But put Cobra stickers on it with a big X across it. Do you reckon he would commit to it?
Kids off at school.
Just, and the ones you don't like, you just put through the wood chipper.
Cut you down to size, maggot.
How I want one.
Excellent.
Here you go. Just take it.
Thanks, buddy.
Oh,
Imagine if I had one on hand and I'm just like, thanks, buddy.
That's amazing.
That'd be cool.
We got to work out our bits next time before we go live.
Yeah.
Damn it. Hey, so before the X-Men 97 came out, there was a lot of negativity surrounding it.
Of course.
In fact, yeah, of course. But before the negativity was making circles, there was a lot of excitement for it, right? The excitement then turned to negativity because it always does. And then the show came out. So when you started playing episode 1, where was your mindset at? Were you like, I'm probably going to be disappointed here? Was it hopeful? Was it preparing yourself for the worst? Where were we?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't pay no heed to when people start talking about it, right? So I went in with just like, all right, impress me. Let's see what happens. Right?
That's what the scriptwriter's like. We're going to impress guys.
No, I just went in there with an open mind, but like, yeah, I'm gonna see it if this is any good. If I don't like it, I don't like it. If I like it, I'm gonna like it.
So I went in with like, oh, if this is bad, at least I get to watch X-Men do some stuff. And if it's bad, I don't need to watch it again, right? Like I get to watch an X-Men show. So I went in with that, and I was very happy with it. But yeah, I got to watch this with my kids, and it was great. But I went in just, I've learned expectations that are high can be disappointed, and expectations that are low can be exceeded. So just go in with like, yeah, let's see what it's going to be. Just kind of meet him middle of the road. But again, like guys, I didn't get into any of the negativity. I'm not going to lie, seeing the figures on the shelf, those like 1/18 scale figures, I was like, this is fun, man. I would have loved to be a kid right now and just buy all these figures and play with them.
Yeah. What about you, Phil?
I was pumped. I was anticipating this show for the longest time. I heard it announced 2 years ago. It was supposed to come out in November of last year. Then we had a little old writer's strike. So I had been biding my time and just marinating in my anticipation. I could not wait for my child to go to bed. So we sat down, me and a 3-year-old son, to watch this show, which, let's be honest, it goes to places that are absolutely not age appropriate. But those first 2 episodes were dropped simultaneously on Disney Plus, and by the moment the first notes of the intro sequence were playing, I was so my feet didn't touch the ground for 2 episodes worth, and my son was absolutely enraptured. He wanted to know everything about everything, like all the characters.
Nice.
To this day, he still calls Rogue Yoga for some reason. He loves Vereen. But he can name them. He knows Magneto. He knows Storm. Like every time we're playing on the playground, and he's like, do electric power, like Storm. I'm like, cool, okay. So maybe I was absolutely biased against like any negative sentiment I might have harbored was kind of totally swept under the rug by just the absolute anticipation and excitement and the release of seeing, the whole thing, the whole package was just, yeah.
It'll send like a goosebumps up your back when you hear it, when you saw that opening. You're like,
Oh, good.
It was so good. Almost went too quick the first time, right? You're like, oh, what's happening? What's different? What's changing? Who's there?
Fortunately, unlike the 90s days, or you didn't have to scramble to find a cassette tape, put in the machine, press record to like maybe relive it later. We could just rewatch it immediately, which is what I did. As soon as I put Elliot to bed, got back in front of the screen and gave it a serious second watch.
I haven't re-watched them yet, any of the episodes, but I'm gonna spend a weekend watching them all back to back. Hans, what do you think, buddy? Where were you at? You watched them pretty late in the game, though, right?
I watched it. Well, remember, like I'm a level with you. I was talking to Ken, and he was like, "Are you gonna watch X-Men '97?" I was like, "Nah, I'm probably not gonna watch X-Men '97." He's like, "Why not?" And I was like, "I don't know, man. Enough of my childhood been destroyed." And he's like, "Nobody said anything about it yet." So I that was my resolution. He was like, "All right, fair enough." And then my best friend, who's in Augusta right now, he texted me and he's like, "Are you watching X-Men?" I was like, "I'm not watching X-Men." And he texted back. He said, "We don't actually deserve a series this good. You should probably watch it." And I was like, is the animation good? And he's like, "If you don't watch it, you're really missing out." I said, "All right, fine." So then I went and I downloaded just one episode. I should have downloaded them all as soon as I get, but because it and by downloaded I mean subscribe to Disney Plus.
Yeah, you streamed it.
Yeah, I streamed it. There are very few series that kind of resonate with me. I would dare say this resonates with me than the first X-Men series of the 90s. I'm not entirely sure why, because it's the same kind of thing that happened with The Last Jedi. Like, I knew I hated it, but I didn't know why I hated it. So I watched it like 3 or 4 more times to write an essay about why I hated it. And this is the reverse. Like, I could watch this 3 or 4 times and I'd have to write an essay on why I like it, because there's way too much to enjoy and to like. And I just wish everybody was respectful with the stuff. I mean, you'd be printing money if you were just respectful. And this show was very respectful. And not only that, it hit enough of the old cues while also being new enough that I didn't know what was going to happen. And I'm really hoping, and I hate this about relationships, I really hope that they just keep going on this track. You don't need to do better. You don't need to do worse. Just do this. Don't do the thing that Disney does to the things that makes me not want to look at the things anymore. Don't do that. Just do this thing. Destroy everything else. Just leave this one alone.
Hans,
everything else is ruined.
Crystal clear.
Would you want to preserve the sanctity of this by saying, "Hey, hands off, keep it animation. Don't make this a test bed for a live-action X-Men team"? Okay.
Yes.
So you want X-Men in live action to be something different, not this.
Yes.
Okay.
Because
let's all face facts. This served as an absolute tonic to the state of the MCU and our general disinterest in all the new shows, the new announcements in terms of films. This was like, nah, I'm sick of all that noise. I'm spent. Give me something different. Give me something fresh. And this is this.
Because it's not
its own thing.
It's not only that, it feels affordable on a mental scale. Like, whenever you go to see a movie, there's almost like a mental investment that has to go into it. I have to get the thing and stand in the line and do the other thing. And if it's garbage, I leave. And all the things I did to lead to this thing was bad. But with this, I sat down on my couch with my wife and I give her a hug and I give her the popcorn and she gave me some back and we watched the movie. And it's not, I said movie, look at that. It's not even a movie. It's a series. And it felt good. And it felt like I didn't need to invest my soul into it. And it just happened to be good. And I think that's what added to it, the fact that it was relaxed. I mean, and I think all of us are adults here. We all know that the heroes that they brought out in the recent Marvel Universe movies, they're not bad heroes. It's just bad writing. You can give a great actor bad lines and they will do an excellent performance of a garbage script. It's just not true. It's not their fault, you know?
Hans, I'll say this too, and I'm sure you'll agree, that this will show Disney that you can have strong female characters without the need to flip the men on its head as well, make them, the lesser, it's not at the expense of the men. They are there as a team, wholeheartedly, fully as a team, and no one male was, I don't think anyway, at the expense of a female. I think
it's almost like the friendship is something that's powerful. It's almost like, friendship has always been valuable. It's almost like, what a fantasy. Listen, when we're off air, we'll talk. I'm not doing this online. Everybody, it's the whole, and Michael Mercy says it all the time. Everybody's got to be Batman. No, that's not true. Everyone can win. We don't all have to have one winner and everybody's a loser. I'm glad that, for example, it's easy to make Wolverine the man, and he's got a movie coming out with Deadpool, and he has 3 movies on his own, but they didn't do that. They were respectful. They let him do his thing, and everybody else did their things, and everybody I felt like even though some people served as the core part for some stories, they didn't do it to the detriment of the others. And I just be respectful. Says me.
So if this is the blueprint of what they're going to bring the X-Men to the MCU, and we've already seen Beast, which is great. And we've seen Professor X technically, but that's a callback. And again, I guess Wolverine and the Deadpool series is, kind of like what they could go with, but I'm sure that they will probably recast everyone. If they do copy this and translate it over, well, that's great. But don't make it these characters. Right? Let them have their own experiences and let them, bond in their own ways, not piggybacking off of this to do that.
Yeah, we don't need a Ryan Reynolds cameo in season 2.
You don't want him to voice Deadpool?
That would be cool, though. That would be cool. Oh, Adam, you actually made this comment yesterday, how Cable sounds like Josh
Brolin. It sounds like they got Josh in the studio. It was crazy.
Did you know it's the same voice actor who played Gambit in the original show?
Really?
He's aged up to be Cable.
That's right.
Nice.
You guys, I think we're all that kind of age where we may or may not have caught the tail end of X-Men Evolution when it came out on WB or whatever it was forever ago.
I don't think I've seen it, but I don't think it's like the first season of that.
That was the series that came out with the movie, right?
Yes, when they were teenagers, and Storm and Wolverine were instructors in this school, and everybody else was young. That was a nice. So what I really like about the X-Men is the school situation. I've always liked the school part of it. When the comic books, when I saw Emma Frost and Scott Summers teaching in the school, that was a big deal to me. So when they did X-Men Evolution, they did something different. But once again, the key word here is respect. And I thought they were very respectful there as well. And they treated Rogue very differently. And it was different illustrations of every single character, but not to the point where they were so very alien that it didn't make any sense. And I just more of this, please. I'm tired and I'm old. Just give me more good stuff. More. I'll be dead soon. Give me more of the good stuff. More of the young.
Old. Just give me what I want.
Yeah.
Well, the movies didn't really lean into the school aspect of Charles Xavier's school. They show bits and pieces, but it was almost like that was a front for the X-Men, right? It's almost like recruiting, which is a bit dirty when you think about it. It's like, oh, you've got a mutant kid, bring him to the school. Oh, you have good powers? We're going to put you on this team.
Child soldiers.
Charles Xavier.
It's a factory for making X-Men.
I'd love to see an X-Men movie just about that kid that can change channels with his eyes. And the experience of X. Give X2 again, but from his point of view. He's just watching.
Blink, blink. But the thing about that is the teachers at Charles Xavier's school are just students that were there from Cyclops, Jean, Storm. They're not qualified teachers. They can't teach you math, English, and all of those other skills that you need. So really, what kind of school is it if it's not just a a factory for building soldiers.
Right.
Basically, it.
Teach them how to use their powers respectfully and in a way that's safe. But they still need other life lessons and they need other skills. And they don't lean into that.
I think in the first Bryan Singer X-Men thing, I believe Charles was actually teaching them philosophy.
Yeah, though there's scenes where they're all being taught stuff, but I don't know how.
Yeah,
how
but
well
from
they are.
Storm.
Yeah, it's like
Storm teaches botany, actually.
Didn't Wolverine teach history? I mean,
Something
why
like
wouldn't
that.
you want to learn like
That's
American
perfect.
Civil War from someone who actually fought in the American Civil
I
War?
was there.
Because he doesn't remember it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
true.
I mean, what continuity we're dealing with? Yeah, this is
Yeah.
meant to import it, I guess.
imagine if it was Wolverine teaching like trigonometry or something like that.
Scott teaches math. He teaches trigonometry.
I would
Yeah.
love it if it was like,
Really?
and the history class with Wolverine, and he's just looking at the kids and being like, I don't know anything. I don't remember anything. He's just freaking out.
Can't get a day job.
Just drops to his knees. Gene.
What's a Nazi?
Did we with Magneto coming in, and it was canon in the comics is that he did take over. I felt like, first of all, they acted like Professor X was dead, knowing full well he was in space, which I thought was weird. Like, it's okay for the world to think that he's dead, but walking around acting like Professor X is dead when he's not is weird. But when Magneto comes in, where did you sit on the believability that they would just follow Magneto's lead? Because I think that would have happened at all. Not that quick of a transition anyway.
No, I don't. I think especially Cyclops, like taking on the burden of leadership, right? Like he goes from to me, my X-Men in that moment. Like, yeah, I guess we're gonna follow Magneto now. Like I think it would have been smarter if Magneto would have infiltrated a few at a time. Like if he would have like met with Rogue first and had like that relationship build a little bit, so then he had like more of a landing pad as opposed to just showing up and being like, I'm in charge now because it says so.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, it should have splintered the group, right? Those that were going to follow Magneto just because, and those were like, no, we will continue Charles Xavier's mission, but we're going to do it over here. Maybe that's the start of X-Force.
In the comic books, when Charles is thought to be dead, Magneto does take over, but Magneto is like not like Magneto as we know, like, oh, I gotta kill we crush the humans under our heels because we're the superior being. He's honestly like feels regret for Charles being dead and not like settling the differences before, so he takes charge of the X-Men and the mansion, the school, to continue Charles's
But it's
dream.
mostly the New Mutants, though, right? He's mostly leading the New Mutants, not necessarily the old band.
But he's
directly imports the continuity from the old show, and in the old show, the heel turn had already happened.
Yeah,
like the X-Men weren't actively fighting Magneto at every turn. He had become an ally by the end of season 5.
And here he just comes in as Magneto, and I'm leading you because this is what Charles wants. For me, I mean, yeah, it's a great plot twist, but it's like, why would Charles in any way give control of the school to him?
So that she got
yeah,
go and have a kid.
Right, exactly. It didn't make any sense to me because it's like it's not a Magneto that's trying to better his ways or make differences, although he does try to, right? But it's still Magneto. That Magneto. Yeah. He's like, I still want to crush you in here, but I'm gonna do the right thing and help you out. It's like, oh, it's not believable, but I mean, it does work for the story, and it does give you that scene where Rogue and Sunspot side with him, and you get that feel of the acolytes in the Jim Lee saga, where like they're following where in the comic book Colossus joins Magneto, and you're like, what? Colossus?
Right, and that felt earned in the comic book as well.
Yeah,
He'd already lost so much following Charles Xavier, and that's why I felt like Rogue was also earned, and Sunspot wasn't.
What's the girl's name again?
Who?
The girl's lost little sister. What's her name again?
Oh, Elanya. Magic.
That's her name.
Magic. Is that her name? Yeah. She has that huge ass Final Fantasy sword.
Right.
So, and then that turn, but that doesn't necessarily change Colossus in the sense of.
I think it was his brother's death, which made him go join a Colossus, if I remember correctly. Magneto, if I remember correctly.
So he'd lost his sister to that mutant virus.
What's the virus called again? The Legacy virus.
The Legacy virus. Did they do that in the original series?
Yes.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
If you go back and you watch the original series, a lot of people die. They don't. This was the 90s. Like they went with the Don Bluth school of thinking, which is simply you could show children some horrible things, and as long as the good guys win in the end, it doesn't matter. That was Don Bluth, and they went with that. That's the crutch that the Batman cartoon stood on in those days. You could show children some terrifying stuff. As long as Batman comes out on top, it's okay.
So let's assume that in the next season they're going to stay lost in time, right? Probably till the end of the season. Who is going to fight Apocalypse in the modern day reform of the X-Men that Forge might put together? Who's on the team?
Can I take a guess?
Take a guess again.
Ready?
Nice.
Oh yeah.
We need him in the show. We need Havoc. I think Havoc, Polaris. I think they'll put together a team of like mutants, X-Men that they obviously didn't show. I think he should, because Cyclops is gone. It's his brother. I think it's a good fit. I think. Personally.
And I've said he's my favorite, but I think bringing Iceman in would make sense because he's the only one of the original ones that's not lost in time now. Using that photo, right?
And maybe even Angel.
Yeah, Angel coming in as the team leaders.
Yep.
And then you could do the whole Angel and then Archangel thing, right?
They've done
That's already happened.
That's already happened, right?
Yeah,
so they bring him back as Archangel,
right?
And Jim Lee style Archangel, where he's got the flowing blonde hair and he's wearing the classic suit.
Right.
He's got all those crazy ass wings.
Imagine the X-Men intro, but now with Archangel, Colossus, Havoc,
Psylocke.
Psylocke, yes.
There's Psylocke in there, yes.
What if they brought out Digital Jubilee, like that Jubilee that was 30 years?
Well, she's on the run at the end of it, right?
Yeah, she can still join the team. Yeah.
As long as she doesn't turn into a vampire, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, get out of here.
She's halfway there, man. She's changed her clothes.
Yeah, true.
I think it's so funny that she's like wearing regular clothes and then she goes to a mall and puts on this like black suit, puts her like cat suit on, and then that's her uniform. Like,
Wasn't it weird though that she got her boyfriend to buy it? She's like, "You've got money, and I like to shop. Let's go."
In front of his mother.
Yeah. I was like, Jubilee, no, Jubes, get out of here.
It was like the scene where they're showing Xavier's wedding publicly on television, and the X-Men are like, "Nah."
Yeah, I did like the line that was like, "Oh, I'm never going to a mall again."
I think if I get Psylocke in her original 90s costume, that would be ballsy. I doubt they'd do it.
No, not happening.
No,
of course not. But you know what? Maybe you don't know.
Wait, didn't they show her in the cartoon in that outfit?
Yes,
not quite.
Yeah, not enough. It was accurate enough.
I mean, they have. Storm
I'm not like Zazel down there, but still.
They have Storm. They have Storm in her original outfits, basically almost the same thing.
and the other one is
How does Storm's powers generate more hair? I understand it can change her clothes, but to grow
Let's see,
out
like
that
City just fizzed it out even more.
That's
Yeah,
right.
really
It's
is.
just full of volume.
It's full volume. I wish it would explain that. How she generate her clothing?
Well, you're changing it with the molecules via electricity, right? She's using electricity to change the molecules of her clothing.
Right.
What?
I don't believe that. That's BS.
Some Reed Richards science BS right there.
It's like that picture. It's like that.
She does it in Night of the Sentinels though. When they're at the mall, she changes her clothes using the electricity.
It's like the picture of the new Superman, right? The outfit. They show him sitting on the chair and he's putting his boot on.
Yeah.
Mm.
And somebody said, man, like in the old stuff, he just like goes into an rotated door. He comes out dressed as Superman, right?
Yeah.
Right. And he does it
Guys,
really
I think
quick.
the
And I'm just
answer is
like,
it's cheaper to animate Firestar going woo,
Yeah.
and rolls
yeah.
than to like
Yeah. I just
the gloves and the onesie. The unitard. Sorry, I was grappling for fashion terms.
That's amazing.
I mean, like we got what we got. Did they put her in her leather look with the mohawk in the original series? No, right?
No.
They
She dropped the
did-
powers?
They did a future. They changed
Yeah.
the past so that
Yeah.
in the future she was Wolverine's wife.
Yeah.
She had the
Yeah,
mohawk.
Yeah.
But that was alternate stuff. Guys, I've got a question for the class. So
Sure.
we saw some very exciting action sequences in this this show.
Yep.
Amazing what they could do, like power ups, team ups, creative uses of various powers and combinations and permutations. Was there a standout one for any of you guys? Any moment where you're like, hell yeah, that's so cool?
When Gambit had his stick powered up and he's like climbing the wall and he was like, doing his thing, I thought that it was pretty neat. Even him like in the tuxedo was a cool addition to that. Like that, I know we talked about that scene when he dies is great, but like the action leading up to it, I was like, this is Gambit, how I've always wanted to see him use in the show.
So good.
Yeah.
And finally seeing like the upper limit of that kinetic energy discharge, that he can take something as massive as that 3-headed sentinel and just
In the old episodes, the only time we saw that was when Rogue stole his powers and he kissed her, and then she fell over and like hit the table, and the table exploded. And I was like,
Right.
there's bigger things too. He just chooses not to.
So
Mhm.
I have a couple of scenes that really stand out. One was we spoke on it earlier, was Cyclops in the first episode, and Cyclops like at the end where he's on Asteroid M and he's fighting Magneto. He's like blasting, like that was great.
Captain America level acrobats.
Exactly, right.
amazing.
Which in my mind, for me, Cyclops is the mutant version of Captain America. He's the Boy Scout. He's the guy that he never falters. So when they turn him into a bad guy in the comic books, I'm like, no, this isn't for me. But anyway. So that was one. Then I'm gonna put these two together. Rogue with her superhuman strength, Superman moment,
Yep.
right? And Gladiator.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
Gladiator. That was amazing. I was like, oh, I love those
That was
characters.
pretty cool.
Seeing that dude punching, kicking ass with that huge mohawk, sweet.
He does look pretty sweet.
When I first saw the trailer for the show, I find the animation look kind of sketchy, but I find the show itself didn't look sketchy at all. I feel like almost they use like stand-in animation. Something was different. I don't know.
So
it
what
felt
from
more
West from Fandom Power said that they actually had to dumb down the animation to make it look like the original stuff.
So 3 words: Beast, Mech, Sentinel. Loved it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And he does it
Trojan
twice,
Gambit.
both to great effect.
Mhm.
And I did like that in that moment. They still called for Bastion to be part of the team. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
there's a misunderstanding here. You were approached. Charles Xavier tried to. I would have loved it. I would have loved it if the other way was true and that she came to Charles and Charles said no. If that was the revelation at the end, that would have been beautiful. But
But
instead, it was
But I love what they did with Bastion, like when they told him, we did approach you, Xavier did come to you, and then his view changes, right? She didn't want me to go with you guys because it would have been wrong. It's better this way, right? He just changes. It just shows you the villain that he is.
But Cyclops saying that don't fear evolution. Join the team. Stop fighting and join. I thought that was a great moment. While under the heel of a mech sentinel.
Yeah, come out of nowhere.
I had hoped that when they were changing into outfits, that Beast was going to put on one of his X Factor suits. That would look cool.
As long as it's not like that half X thing that he wears in like the newer comics.
That's a.
It just goes up to his like chest, and then they're like shorts.
Yeah,
like,
it was so bad.
It's like, who thought of that?
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, no. The revelation of the retro suits, and they're all putting them on. All of them worked for me except for Jean Grey's. I was like, what are you putting on there, Jean?
I know, the little green dress.
Yeah, with like the weird mask.
Yeah. Like, what other options did she have though? I mean, putting on the Phoenix suit would have been cool.
Yeah. Well, she had the there was the X Factor suit, which I kind of like. I think it's probably my favorite look for even Cyclops.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
No.
I mean, as much as I like the straps, that blue suit with the white X is just.
You know what she could have done? She could have stayed home. Anyway, whatever.
Oh.
I just
yikes.
Forever, guys.
All right, well, we're coming up to the hour and a half mark. Let's wrap it up. Final thoughts on X-Men 97, where we think we're going to go. Bone Claws, anyone?
No.
I think that we're going to have the X-Men in the past doing past stuff, and we're going to have X-Men in the future doing future stuff. I would like to see, with the absence of the X-Men, Cable come back to current day and put together X-Force, and it becomes an X-Force in modern day show.
Yes. Please do that.
Maybe have some other appearances from Excalibur.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
But right, him and Sunspot could start it up. The Sunspot's an X Factor guy.
Do we bring in Boom Boom?
No. Oh God, no. Come on.
Boom Boom, Richter. You're gonna throw all the X-Force guys.
Cannonball.
Cannonball.
What was her name? What's her name? The werewolf girl. What was her name?
Feral.
Yeah, Wolfsbane. Yeah, Wolfsbane. Yeah,
Feral was in X-Force. Wolfsbane was in X Factor.
But she's got to have that haircut.
Yeah, the Wolverine haircut.
That Rob Liefeld.
See, this is
I'm going to speculate that season 2, just based on the clip that they move through these various story arcs from the comic book, I think they're going to get everyone back into the present by the end of the second episode. That's my prediction.
Wow, that soon.
Yeah,
not Cyclops and Storm, surely.
No, I think that seriously, I think that Cyclops and Jean Grey are gonna have that whole miniseries that they had back then when they were on Adventures.
Yeah.
I think it's only gonna be like an episode. Right?
So they change their names, don't they? So that Cable doesn't know that it's Chicken Cyclops.
Yeah, I believe so.
Which is
money
weird.
On X23.
What was that?
Money on X23.
Do they bring it out of her? Do they bring in Draken?
Once you bring time travel in,
maybe
X23. That's just how that works.
I'm hoping that like old Wolverine shows up with a baby Yeah, I was gonna say.
If they bring old man Logan into the show, yes, do that. But we've got Apocalypse on 3 different timelines. So he'll be in the future, he'll be in the past, and he'll be in the present. Will anything that happens in the past actually affect anything else in the present or future? Or do we think it's...
I think this is going to spark off his like...
Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah, I think so.
Because if they bring Gambit back as Death, Rogue really needs to be in the present in order for that to have any effect. Right? That's the major heartstring pulling moment there, right? And
Don't
probably
even
the
worry
only
about it. She'll be back in the present in episode 2. I'm telling
end
you
of
now.
episode 2, she's back, baby.
And
They're gonna take
story,
the-
man. You're not gonna reunite the team. Come on.
those huge storylines in the comic books and do it in 15 minutes.
They
Basically,
did do that. They did with this season. Everything was like 1 or 2 episodes only, and then it's status quo back.
I want to see Wolverine turn into a Brood. I want that cover. I want to see that. You know,
Yeah,
what I'm
the
talking
bone
about?
claws I'm happy with. Feral Wolverine, get out of here.
No.
Like I said, I don't mind Feral Wolverine for one episode.
I don't know. The good X-Men stories for me, I mean, they're like, if you really like kind of pinpoint them, you have the first one that everybody has back in 1990, 1991, where they first meet Magneto with Fabian Cortez and all that weird stuff. Then there's like a bunch of garbage, and then there's like, to me, Extinction Agenda, and then there's Phoenix Saga, Extinction Agenda, and then there's a bunch of garbage, and then Messiah Complex, and that's kind of like if they hit, and then there's Age of Apocalypse, but God knows what happens. Those are like kind of the things they need to hit for me to be cool. But you know what? I'll trust them for a little while, but you know, I'm always, whenever anything is good, whenever anything is popular, whenever there's money in it, someone will show up to sink claws into something that they don't understand and where it doesn't belong. And that's unfortunate. They left it alone for long enough and now that it's popular, it's only a matter of time before. Anyway.
But they've written the first
cynical. And I should.
They've written all like season 1, 2, and 3 already, right? Those already have been written. Is that?
I think it's 1 and 2. I think it's 2's written.
Yeah, but
okay.
But I think it's like it has like a path to go on for season 3, all set in motion.
We don't have Apocalypse in 3 timelines if you're not going to end game it with Age of Apocalypse being for season 3.
Right.
There'll probably be like the last like 2 or 3 episodes would be like Age of Apocalypse. And all.
Well, if Steve's right, Age of Apocalypse could be episode 3 after they come back from episode 2.
Yeah.
When is season 2 coming out? Did they say?
No idea.
All right, but good.
We don't do research here.
I think there's another. I think they're doing What If. Another season of What If,
and then Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man first.
I'm just saying in this season, if they do What If this season, we need the Wolverine. What if Wolverine ran Shield? We need that one.
Really gonna be, Steve, you really think within the year we're going to see this again?
No, I'm saying it can't be less than a year off.
I hope not.
Can't be less than a year, so it'll be more than a year. Then.
Yeah.
I honestly rather wait
mid 2025.
Late 2025 at earliest. I'm okay with that. I just find this is one of the people are so ridiculous. They want everything now. They don't know what they don't know what they want, but they want it now. This was great. It was great because it was allowed to stew. The food was cooked and left on the table to set. Just let it simmer. Enjoy the 10 episodes you have. Rewatch them.
We've already waited decades. We can wait a little bit longer.
I love the format that they're putting them out as, like one a week. That doesn't bother me enough because it lets it like just sit there and just get richer and richer in my mind, build it up. You know what I mean? And then you go sit down. You excited to sit down and watch it, and you purposely say to yourself, "It comes out on Wednesday. I'm gonna watch it on Friday. I'm gonna give me the 2 extra days to make me go."
And yet I know people who purposefully wait for the end of the series so they can binge it. I'm like, oh, come on, guys. There's something old school about watching week to week.
I've downgraded my Netflix account so I can have commercials. Just because. So I can get up and be like, I'm gonna go get a drink. I'll be right back.
Take a piss.
My kids want to binge watch.
Exactly.
Right? My kids are developing that kind of binge watch mentality now. I'm like, no, sit. We will watch 1 or 2 episodes, and that will be all.
We can't resist it, man. This is where we are.
Evolution, baby.
Mass media. Like, there's no dialing back the clocks.
What's it called again? Delayed gratification. I'll force it into them. They
So
need
what I
that.
what I do is I'll watch like the X-Men. Like I watch the season, right? All episodes. Now I'm gonna let it sit for a bit, and then maybe a week or 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, I'll sit and I'll watch them again. Right?
Yep.
And then
That's what I plan on
leave it
doing
there.
this season. Yeah.
But this time I'll probably watch like maybe 2 episodes at a time, right?
Yeah.
Or if it's like a rainy day, I got nothing else to do, I'll just watch them all.
Yeah.
Gazz's activities are very much based around rain.
Yeah, it's raining, nothing to do. I'm play some
Can't
games.
pick a ball today.
Can't catch no 10. I guess I watch TV. I'm thinking of putting together a roster for my kids of like you have 2 hours of TV time. You need to slot in what you want to watch where, and like have that stand week to week. So it's episodic. It's programming, you know.
And that would work if all they watch.
One thing to the next.
But that would work if they watch television. But like my daughter right now, and I don't understand it. Like she's a cool kid. She's got a lot going for her. But she loves watching. She loves watching. Well, she reads and she draws a lot. But when she watches TV, she watches like YouTube clips of people playing Minecraft. And I'm like, just go play it yourself. Like, what are you watching this people play it for? You're not even playing. You just go do it. You can do this.
Your daughter likes Doctor Who, correct?
Loves Doctor Who. Loves the X-Files. Like she has good taste.
Did you put it on Pluto? Because Pluto has a Doctor Who channel.
So we watch a lot. We watch a lot of Pluto TV.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, the Godzilla channel.
Oh yeah, it's my favorite.
It's a Godzilla channel.
Oh yeah,
Godzilla,
and
nice.
it costs nothing. It's free.
Wow.
Yeah.
You just sign up. That's it. Pluto TV.
And it's got commercials, and it's the best.
It's awesome.
We don't get commercials down here, no matter how hard we try.
You put Pluto TV on, you will.
Yeah, you want Pluto TV.
We don't have Pluto TV.
The thing
You
is,
gotta have Pluto TV. It's on the internet.
we heard how hard it was for Hans to watch this show. He had to have like 6 guys tell him to watch it, and he's like, "All right, finally, I'll watch the X-Men show for our time." And then if we're telling him to watch Pluto TV, he's like, "Okay, guys, he's not gonna watch it. It's not ready."
Hans, you got 2 buddies here telling you that Pluto TV has Doctor
Pluto
Who,
TV is the way to go.
Godzilla, and a Stargate channel.
You need
Yeah, it's
5
worth
more guys
watching.
to equal the 7 total, you know. It's just
He needs mad guys.
And a
the Pluto
VPN.
TV channel, I've been watching.
yeah, there it is.
Oh, you should be able. I think it's worldwide.
No.
Yeah.
Pluto TV. It's not.
I've been watching a lot of Taxi.
Okay.
Show is so funny. It's so funny.
I
I
started
need to go
watching.
back and rewatch that. I haven't
like,
seen
you
it in
guys-
a while.
What's the show with the helicopter?
Airwolf.
Airwolf, right. That never came down here.
Oh.
I've never seen Airwolf in my life.
It's like Knight Rider, but a helicopter.
Buck Rogers. I didn't see Buck Rogers till I was in my 20s.
Oh, lucky boy.
I didn't see Battlestar Galactica till I saw the new one, and then someone told me there was an old one. And that was someone
damn.
also in my 20s. Because, so we saw MacGyver, Tour of Duty, Kung Fu the Legend, miscellaneous Chinese movies every Sunday afternoon where our local TV station would run out of programming and just put random stuff on. So my TV experience is bizarre, to say the very least.
I love that you brought up Tour of Duty. What a great show. To me, that was the G.I. Joe TV show growing up.
It was.
It
It was because of that show. It was because of that show. For my tomahawk, I drew it. I drew one of those like shield patches on the front of it.
Yeah,
to give it
Oh,
that
right.
Vietnam, to give it that Vietnam feel to it.
Tour of Duty was dubbed in my neck of the woods into Afrikaans. And the
Really?
title was Sending Vietnam, which means assignment Vietnam.
Oh, there you
That
go.
sounds pretty cool.
That's really
That
cool.
is decent.
I couldn't understand a word. I was still too young to understand the other language, but that's cool.
Afrikaans is actually like a completely different language, or it's a mix of?
It's informal Dutch, but it has evolved into being its own thing. It's got a more like harsh sound than Dutch.
More
Honestly,
harsh than
because-
Dutch?
More harsh than Dutch, yeah.
So my wife is Dutch, very Dutch.
Oh, yes.
So
Very Dutch.
we have lots of wooden shoes in our house. And sometimes
you wear that? Craziness.
so my wife, she wears a modern day Clumpton, which is like wooden shoes covered in leather, so they don't look like that when she wears them. And she also has a pair of actual Klumpin, but they're painted like a Nike runner that she'll wear.
The irony.
Yeah, China Beach was great. But my wife was talking some Dutch for our kids, and my daughter said, "It sounds like she's speaking Klingon, like she wants to go fight someone." Like, it just sounds like such an aggressive language, and you're saying that it's more Dutch. It's more harsh.
I just think the consonant sounds are harder, whereas Dutch. There's a kind of a beigeness to Dutch. I mean, it's a more evolved language. It's been around a lot longer than Afrikaans. Afrikaans is only, like, I don't know, 200 or 300 years old. So there's more of a shorthand that exists in Dutch. But anyways, we're blowing off topic. I guess in terms of our reception of TV shows, I'd like to just say that X-Men was a week-to-week thing for us. And then it moved into a every weekday time slot. But it was always on the paid channel network that I didn't have access to. So I was a hobo. I was at my friend's house. Anyone who could have me on a Saturday morning, or when it moved into the weekday slot, I was like crashing my friend's like family daycare just to watch X-Men. And then I was like, cheers, guys, bye. It's nice.
Before the X-Men, I don't know if before it came out on TV. Here they had them on video cassette, and they were given away on at Pizza Hut.
Pizza Hut, yep.
Yeah. I had a girlfriend who was working at Pizza Hut, and she got me all the copies.
Nice.
All at once, and I was like, "Woo!"
Inside job.
Yeah.
Batman the animated series for some reason was on the free channel, and I guess that's why I have a bias towards X-Men, because it felt more premium. It's like, I gotta pay for this stuff, whereas Batman's for free. I guess I'll go to cricket practice and maybe my mother will tape it, or maybe she won't, and I'll just not watch it. That's okay. But yeah, X-Men had that sheen, and it being a team show, like everyone could pick their favorites. It wasn't like this the playground conundrum of like one guy can play Batman and then everyone has to be Robin or Nightwing or Batgirl. Like here, that was the secret ingredient of the X-Men show,
right?
That like everyone could play their favorites. I mean, someone will always pick Wolverine first, fine, but there's still great characters to pick from once he's gone.
That's true.
Love the show. Such an important part of my childhood.
It was the first, because I was collecting comic books every single month. And it was probably the first VHS that I ever. I had to beg Mum for, because I already spent all my pocket money was already spent on day one of our trip to town, and I picked up all the comics I could find. And then all of a sudden, I see a VHS of Night of the Sentinels. I'm like, oh man, can I get? We spent all your money already. It's like, well, what can I do to get more money? What fake promises can I make?
With a little cat.
So for me, we were at I believe it was Zeller's in Thunder Bay, and I picked up I believe it was Nightcrawler was the figure I chose that day, and then we saw the VHSs, and I was like, oh my! But back then VHS was expensive for what it was, right? They're still $20 back in like '91 or whatever it was, and then. So I asked for it, and I was told no. Like, you've got your treat, that's fine. And to be fair, but then for dinner we went to Pizza Hut, and lo and behold, Pizza Hut giveaway, and I got one anyways. It was great day.
My first foray into X-Men was before the cartoon. It was the action figures, and it was Forge. I bought the Forge action figure, and it was also the first action figure I ever had to return to the store, because I mean I broke his action feature immediately.
Oh,
very finicky, unfortunately. That spring shoulder. I mean, trying to get mechanisms in the shoulders is problematic. You got very little area to work in there. Anyway, so Forge was a dud, sadly.
Well, I had the comics, then the toys, then the cartoon. So I had the natural progression.
Ooh, that's how it's supposed to be. Oh, Adam. Wow. A childhood quest has finally been completed. I've witnessed Forge's action feature.
That's how it does it.
Nice.
Yeah, same with me, Motu Jones. How are you, buddy? As a comic book fan, I was all over the X-Men well before the cartoon. Same So it was
Yeah.
comics, because the comics were huge. Then, and I didn't always start off that way. They were background people for a while, the X-Men, because they lost favor, but then they came back in a big way. And then the toys, and then the cartoon. It was a
Perfect storm.
it was a perfect storm. It was nailed it. It was, for me, it was more powerful than the Ninja Turtles that blew up worldwide, right? That was a big phenomenon. And I was all the Turtles too. But watching this thing happen, I was a nerd, so I didn't really have a lot of people to share my love of this nerd stuff with because it wasn't cool. But watching it happen through this progression, kind of even like G.I. Joe did, where it was like comics, cartoon, toys. But it was like it felt like it was being made for me right at the right moment, at the right time. So I love these. I wish I could play with these. Oh, I can. This is great. I love playing with these. I love reading these. I wish I could watch this. Oh, I can. Mind blown.
I mean,
What a time.
think about it this way: if Marvel hadn't gone through the turmoil with finances that they did in the early '90s, when they went with their own press and they caused a lot of other smaller comic book companies to dwindle away to nothing,
Right.
they wouldn't have sold the rights to Spider-Man and to the X-Men because even though they were popular, at the time they were popular, but they were the other heroes were a little more worth more money to them or more important to them, like Fantastic Four, Captain America, the Avengers and stuff, which is why they made that mock Fantastic Four movie. Yeah,
right.
But they sold off Spider-Man and they sold off the rights, like television movie rights, all that stuff, to X-Men and Spider-Man, which is why you got Fox creating Spider-Man cartoons and this wonderful X-Men show that we all love. Without that,
in a perfect world, it would have led to an X-Men animated movie based in this universe. Would have been perfect for me.
Yeah, because I remember sitting around with my buddies back then, just talking about who would play who in like a live action movie. And my friend Judd, he was adamant that it would be Jack Nicholson to play Wolverine.
Mel Gibson was often put in there as well, but it was always Patrick Stewart. Always Patrick Stewart.
Always Patrick Stewart. Yeah. And I used to torment him. I was always go, Wolverine sucks. Gambit can kick his ass.
Get out of here, Gazz. All right, fellas, let's call it there. I want to thank everyone. My voice is starting to go. But I want to thank everyone for joining us. Hans Chow, thank you for coming in, kicking that door in and putting it back up as you come through. Steve, thanks, buddy. It's good to see you again. Do check out G.I. Joe Berg. I know you have. If you're here, you've definitely seen all of that cool stuff over there. Adam, thanks for hanging out, good friend. We look forward to hanging out with the fellas at Zellers. Gazz will be back. We'll be back with another Shoot the Shit. This time, I think we're going Alien.
They're out there. We want to believe.
We do want to believe. We will be back and in greater numbers. If you haven't gone and seen Adam at Go Figure, do go check it out. If you haven't seen G.I. Joe Berg, we all know you have. Do go over there and check it out. If you haven't seen Han Chow on his Instagram, check out his Instagram there too. He's got a comic book coming out. If you haven't seen Gazz's Instagram, check out that too. And if you're lucky enough to be on his Facebook at Daily Calvin and Hobbes, and with all of those, you should
check it out one time, won't you?
And if you check it out once, you'll definitely check it out twice. And with that, I will say sayonara. Thanks to all my friends for hanging out. Gazz, thanks for being the best co-host for this show. I appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks for being the best host, buddy.
All right, I'm going to have some lemon tea and then maybe go and lay down for a bit. But
my X-Men.
Does it still spark? Do the spark.
Fortunately, it doesn't work on this one anymore. I've never known what that.
How do any of your toys work, buddy?
My Cyclops still works. Yeah, picked him up in.
You know what would still work? A magnetized Magneto. That would still definitely work.
It does, but it doesn't pick up anything other than the silly little plastic, metal pieces. Come on, man.
All right. See you, fellas.
Bye.
Happy hands.